today we're going to talk about two different topics. The first one would be proposed endeavor, how to write the best proposed endeavor, what things to consider in writing proposed endeavor, what to do, what to not do, kind of things. So please enlighten us about proposed endeavor.
Perfect. Thank you for having me. This is a valuable conversation for anyone who is considering applying for the NIW and determining whether they may want to take the next steps with our firm or on their own. The one thing to understand about the NIW is that it all sort of centers around these future plans, and we articulate those in something called the proposed endeavor statement. The proposed endeavor statement, for those who may not be aware, it is a short essay, usually between 4 and 6 pages, where we discuss we just briefly introduce your expertise, your area of excellence, and then we really spend a lot of time carving out what your plans are for the next 10 years. How do you plan to get there? And we really take the USCIS on a short narrative to really convey complex, often very technical information in a very condensed manner. Some of our clients come to us and they say, I wrote the thesis or I wrote my dissertation and here it is, it's 20 plus pages. And we're like, great, but now we need to condense kind of similar principles down to 4 to 6 pages. So this is a challenge for most people. It's a different way of articulating, different way of communicating, and a different way of thinking. And so it can have its own challenges. So today we're going to talk briefly about what a proposed endeavor looks like. I like to think of it as a funnel. If you think of your most broad concepts at the top and then get down to more specific areas of explaining how your methods and approach, then that tends to work best. So for instance, if you're a mechanical engineer, then you would introduce this concept of, hello, I'm a mechanical engineer, but what area or what industry do you focus in mechanical engineering? And that's the next step of your funnel. So maybe you focus as a mechanical engineer, maybe you're in automotives, maybe you're in something dealing with these EVs somehow. Maybe you're doing something like that. So then we would introduce that. Okay, well, I'm a mechanical engineer and I'm working in the automotive industry. Specifically, I'm working in the area of automated vehicles. Okay, that's great. Okay, so next thing you do is you introduce my proposed endeavor is to, and you kind of fill in this concept, another broad concept, where you're saying you're going to advance the automotive industry. Maybe you're doing something with there's a number of things that we see people doing. But maybe you're doing something with sensors. Maybe you're doing something with the kind of combining the machine learning concepts into more accurate or advanced technology for automated vehicles. Maybe you're doing something with the chips. Something along those lines. You'll kind of introduce what you're doing. And my proposed endeavor is to advance the automotive industry, specifically these automated vehicles, by introducing new concepts related to chips. Maybe that's your concept. Okay, that's great. So then we would get into kind of introducing why this is necessary. We would provide some brief explanation to national trends, maybe White House initiatives, maybe the presidential campaign, the current president is introducing specific initiatives with a lot of capital or funding being allocated to something related to your future plans. So we would briefly introduce that and discuss economic benefit or societal benefit. If there's some kind of combination thereof, we would introduce that. And then the next step in your proposed endeavor is to explain what your 1 to 5 year goals are. How are you going to impact this industry? And how specifically the USCIS wants to know, how is one person going to impact the industry? It's not enough that the USCIS says it's not enough that the United States cares about your industry or that they have significant funding allocated toward your initiatives. Rather, we need to know, how is one person going to impact the broader United States or the broader industry? And, The USCIS is not expecting you to be a superhero of sorts. We're just needing you to show exceptional ability, and that's where the concept of the NIW comes from. We need to show that you're doing something above what is just normally pursued as a mechanical engineer, as an IT specialist, as a pharmaceutical developer. What are you doing that rises to that level of exceptional ability? So the way we like to demonstrate this is we like to discuss maybe what skills you'll leverage, what methods or approach you would leverage to advancing the specific area within your industry. And we like to demonstrate how you can have a broader impact in such a way that it's not just benefiting the company you're a part of. And that gets a little bit tricky, but it's actually more simple than most people think. We can leverage a number of things, such as if there's a company footprint that's nationwide, that's often helpful to demonstrate how one person could broadly impact the United States. Because if the company has a regional or a national impact, then you could kind of infer that a successful research project or industry project would then get disseminated throughout the company's other branches throughout the rest of the nation. However, again, we need to demonstrate that it goes beyond just the company itself. So that's where, as an expert, it becomes really important to help us figure out how does your research or your project that you're pursuing, how does that reach the broader industry? How are experts within your field refined by the advancements of other experts in your field? Sometimes it's simple. If there's research and we can show that it's in a high, like a Q1, high ranking, peer-reviewed article or peer-reviewed journal, then we can demonstrate, hey, experts in this field gain insight through research and by publications. But for industries that may not have a lot of research publications available, we have to then show impact in another way. Some clients find that it's good to do this with letters of recommendation. If you have other experts in your field who can then speak to the value of the proposed endeavor, can speak to the potential impact, and demonstrate that the applicant's pursuit of the NIW, pursuit of this proposed endeavor, would have a broad, far-reaching impact within their industry or the broader US, that is a great tool to demonstrate impact. So kind of bringing it back to this proposed endeavor development. Again, it's a funnel, your broadest concepts at the top. We get more specific. We introduce a bit of kind of industry need or cultural need, societal need for this. And then we really get into the details, the methods, the approach, the skills leverage. And you take the USCIS on that 1 to 10 year journey with the goals being much more specific for the first 5 years. The broader concepts, of course, are for your 5 and 10 year goals. And it's very well understood that you may not have a lot of details that you can share for your 5 and 10 year goals, but they should still be thoughtful. They should still have a seamless flow from your short-term goals to your long-term goals. For those of you who are entrepreneurs or have entrepreneurial goals, it generally works best to articulate those in the 5 to 10 year goals. And that is well accepted by the USCIS. If it is something you want to do in the short term, there tends to be a lot more hurdles due to complexities, because we're not then just talking about your exceptional field, exceptional skills within your field. Now we have to also leverage your exceptional skills as an entrepreneur, financial stability, and it gets really complicated. So we tend to find that it is most realistic for most of our applicants to have entrepreneurial skills articulated as more of a long-term goal. So after we introduce these goals, we articulate the 1 to 5 year plan, the 5 to 10 year plan. Then that leaves us kind of discussing briefly your past. We will build up a strong paragraph or so that explains, this person is qualified to pursue this. They have pursued research that's well positioned them, and they have received either awards or other accolades of excellence within their field. And then we kind of just close out this document and add it as an exhibit to the actual NIW itself for submission to the USCIS. I will also say that the proposed endeavor tends to confuse some applicants or some of our clients initially, because this proposed endeavor kind of feels like a mini NIW to a lot of people. And so they get a little bit confused or frustrated by this initial focus on the proposed endeavor. And so I'll briefly say that, they're separate documents. The proposed endeavor is an exhibit for the NIW itself, and that the value of it is that when the USCIS goes to adjudicate or review your NIW application, the thing that they're going to be doing is they're taking this proposed endeavor and seeing how national importance, substantial merit, well-positioned, and this on balance for urgency and impracticality all aligns to the actual proposed endeavor, which is different than some of the other visas, because the other visas are in this category can be a bit more just about excellence. So it can be a little bit more tailored to the CV. Whereas with the NIW, it's a bit different because there's a tremendous focus on this proposed endeavor. And the USCIS actually will say, hey, this proposed endeavor seems to have merit. We seem to understand that there's an important, that there's meritorious value to these future plans, but it's unclear to us how they're going to get there. Therefore, we cannot find national importance. And so you'll see this kind of language in the RFEs, where it's less about, hey, we're not sure that they have excellence. It's more about, how is this person going to get there? How do they intend to impact their field? How is this mechanical engineer or this pharmaceutical developer or this IT specialist, how are they going to impact what they say they want to do? So that leads us to this discussion about RFE trends for NIWs. And I would say that by and large, there's generally, I can say with confidence at our firm, that there hasn't been a client that isn't qualified necessarily for the NIW. But I think what happens is that the stronger applications tend to come down to being able to communicate a very strong proposed endeavor with these quality details. And the reason I say that is because a lot of times what we see with our clients and RFE trends, generally what we're seeing is that a lot of the USCIS concerns can really be addressed with very good, clear details about a method, a plan, approach for that, 1 to 10 year range. Meaning, if you're an IT specialist, we need to know, what skills are you leveraging? Are you doing neural networks? Are you doing Python? What are you doing? Machine learning and AI? What are you doing and how? How is what you're doing different than what the field is already seeing? Or how is it innovative in a way that will fulfill a void within either the US economy, within the field? Is it a healthcare initiative? Is it a financial initiative? Is it a software security issue that we're facing? What are we dealing with? So that to me tends to be the number one reason for an RFE and or denial, is this just vagueness in the proposed endeavor. And it makes it hard from our perspective because we aren't experts in your field, first off. That makes it absolutely difficult. And the second thing is, this should be an authentic articulation of what your plans are. And we don't personally know you in that way to be able to help you fill in those gaps. A lot of times, if, say, I have a client and I'm noticing voids or vagueness in the proposed endeavor, I can look to the CV, I can look to our research summaries document and try to make suggestions and fill things in and ask the client for clarification and confirmation. But really and truly, it goes a long way to have these details initially and to have them really vocalized from the client. It's that authentic message, you know it when you see it. And it's hard to explain it until you start working in this area often. And I can always tell when somebody's using AI to generate their proposed endeavor instead of trusting their own authentic voice to being valuable. And I think that also holds clients back sometimes, is that they're thinking about their work in in this way for the first time, and they're comparing themselves to maybe mentors in their field, and they don't feel exceptional sometimes. And maybe sometimes they're just recent graduates and they just don't feel like they've caught their stride in their industry yet. And so sometimes I think that that compromised bit of confidence can lead to more generic proposed endeavors also. And I would just encourage you to take a look at yourself and your portfolio from a non-expert perspective and see where you fall, and try to articulate to help us demonstrate that you do have excellence within your field, that there is this exceptional ability and a long-term potential for your future. And with that, I think that I would close by saying that the other big area of NIW RFEs is lately it's about national impact. The USCIS really wants to see a demonstration beyond yourself and your employer. And they want to see that there is a broader advantage to approving this petition. It can't just be that maybe you're working cybersecurity and you're enhancing the cloud software or something along those lines. It can't just be that Google benefits or that Amazon benefits in their AWS program. We need to demonstrate that the work that you complete, maybe you do need to work at Google, or maybe you do need to work at Amazon. And while that is perfectly noble and that can be exceptional, we need to be clear with the USCIS that it is exceptional, that there is a broader impact, and that not only do you work at Amazon or Google or Meta, but that you are impacting the community as a whole. Are you working on projects that help make software more inclusive? If so, then we need to know that, because that's a great advantage to your endeavor. If you're working on an area that's making maybe internet more accessible to rural communities, that's incredible too. We need to know those potential implications, because all of that demonstrates and builds to help us articulate to the USCIS that there is a broader impact that goes beyond yourself, that goes beyond Google, that goes beyond Meta, et cetera. So those to me are the two biggest areas right now for RFE denials, is just a vagueness in the proposed endeavor. That's number one. And the second is this: we need to work with our clients, and the clients need to help us articulate better, how is this going to impact the broader United States? Is there any kind of ability to say that you're working to bridge gaps for disadvantaged populations, inclusiveness, minorities, any kind of overlooked, marginalized population within the United States, or just a massive void that's causing tremendous economic harm to the nation as a whole? Those kinds of things are often not things, they're often not concepts that we really are able to maybe realize that our work is impacting, because a lot of times we're just really focused on the task at hand. We're really navigating the problems and the skill set in front of us. We're really trying to enhance maybe our skill set and our professional skills. But coming out and taking a much larger look at what you're doing and the potential impact it can have is very valuable in helping us connect all the pieces between your expertise and then that impact discussion. So those are the things we're looking for currently for clients. We're really focusing on those areas and trying to assure that the clients that we're working with, that we address these two major concerns, as that tends to be, as I mentioned a few times now, that is our biggest repeat concern for denial, RFEs, just unsuccessful progression of cases. We're getting better at realizing this stuff up front. We're getting better at grabbing information and asking clients for things in a different way to make it more effective. But at the end of the day, if the client comes to the table understanding this, then we work hand in hand much more efficiently. Most clients are wanting to finish their cases very rapidly this time of year. So coming to us with this sense of understanding and perspective will be very valuable to anyone who chooses to pursue the NIW with our team or, on their own, however they choose to do that. Raju, did you have anything to add? Any questions?
No, thank you so much. Yeah, I thought I will ask you these two questions separately, but you covered everything in one shot. That's good. Thank you very much.